'46, when he came to my house over in Charlestown and knocked on the door, it was in the winter, and in most of the three-deckers there, the heart of the home is the kitchen. All your friends come up the back stairs, and you hung around the kitchen. That's where most of the warmth was. So when the knock came on the front door, I figured it had to be a stranger or a bill collector, and it turned out to be young John F. Kennedy. And he was a very, very, you know, a great person to be with. And I always said he had a three-decker sense of humor. You know the style, like one time when a member of the White House press asked him what his favorite song was, and he sort of thought a bit, and he said, I think that Hail to the Chief has a nice ring to it. And then I remember him for his great courage. Courage comes in all forms, not always the Marine in a foxhole or the astronaut in space, but he deeply believed that people fighting for a cause, that one man or one woman could make a difference, and they all should try. And people believed in it, and young people went into the Peace Corps, and young people went into politics, and you know, they all felt they knew him. And then he had this great compassion, that he worried about the elderly, and he worried about the sick, and people wonder how a man, a millionaire from Harvard, brought up on a silver spoon, would have time for them. But he learned it firsthand, what it was he had, you know, that made people follow him, in trying to capture his spirit and his style and his grace. All this, the papers and the gifts that he received from all over the world made you realize that no man ever made such an impact on not only our country, but the entire world in just 2 years and 10 months and 2 days. That you had to be with him in Paris and London and Dublin and Berlin to realize how much this man was loved. At the age of 43, he was the youngest man ever elected president.
Do you think your age is going to be one factor against you being so young?
Well, Theodore Roosevelt was younger than I was when he became president. I've been in the Congress 14 years. Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence when he was 32, which was 10 years younger than I was. So I came to the Congress the same year as the vice president. So we've been in Congress for quite a long time.
And then he had a beautiful wife, 12 years younger, a first lady at 31. Jackie did everything that a wife could and should, and I can tell you that I was by her side all through the farms of Wisconsin and the hills of West Virginia, and she was a great political asset.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I do not think it altogether inappropriate to introduce myself to this audience. I am the man who accompanied Jacqueline Kennedy to Paris, and I've enjoyed it.
Many people stood in line to meet Jackie as they did Jack, and she was going to be our secret weapon in 1964. But she did campaign in the presidential primaries and was very effective.
Can you state as evasively as Nixon would under the circumstances which state, Kentucky or Massachusetts, produces the most beautiful women?
Taking a leaf out of the Vice President's book, my wife comes from New York, and therefore I would say that New York produces the most beautiful women.
Every day he looked more like a president than the day before. Just as he grew as a congressman, after 6 years he was ready for the Senate, and just as he grew in the Senate after 8 years, he was ready for the White House. I think the toughest day that I can all remember was Saturday, October 27th, 1962, and I'm having dinner with the president. He had sent Bobby down to talk to the Russian ambassador, Dobrynin, And when Bobby came back, I can remember I'm eating the chicken and drinking the wine. The president had chicken and a tall glass of milk, and Bobby came in and all the news was bad. And I continued to eat nervously, unaware the brothers had stopped talking. And then I heard that great voice go, "Dave, you are eating the chicken and drinking the wine like it's your last supper." And I looked up sheepishly and said, "Mr. President, after listening to you and Bobby, I'm not so sure it isn't." And I slept in the White House that night. I was with him until he went to bed at 11. And then the next morning, I'm up early, and I'm going past the Situation Room, and McGeorge Bundy, the National Security Advisor, is on his way to tell the president they just received word that Khrushchev agreed to take the missiles out. And I finished my coffee and went over to go to Mass with the president. And as he climbed into the White House limousine, he said, "Dave, this morning we have an extra reason to pray," and we sure did. When we left for Texas, he was looking forward to some of the best years of his life. Monday was John's 3rd birthday, and Wednesday was Caroline's 6th, and Thursday was Thanksgiving, and they had planned birthday parties and a very festive affair, and oh, it was fun. It was great to be an American in those days.